Welcome to Latinos in Michigan TV. I'm your host, Liliana Ospina Herstred. A few days ago, I had the opportunity to interview one of the most important Hispanic businessmen in Michigan. Here is the interview about the legacy of Frank Venegas Jr.
When someone talks about Hispanic leadership in Michigan, the conversation is bound to lead to the legacy of Frank Venegas Jr., the chairman and CEO of the Ideal Group, and that leadership and entrepreneurial spirit that comes from his family.
I'm a real strong family person, and I'm a real strong believer in the religion and God. And I was real lucky all my life to be born, to be with my parents, to do what I have. I was real lucky when I started my business. I won a Cadillac in a car draw. It was a deal, a party. It was $150. At that time, it was a lot of money. I bought a ticket, and at the end of the night, I drove this brand new Cadillac home. I drove it around for 9 days. I thought about keeping it. It looked right. God darn, I come down in the hood, I'd be cool. But I didn't do that. I sold it, and I took the money with my 401k money from the company I work for, and I started Ideal. I've always wanted to be a businessman, and we always had something going on out on the streets or out in the area about, running a little business of some sort. We never heard for money as kids. My mother was an entrepreneur, and she taught me how to be an entrepreneur. She was a seamstress in the neighborhood, and she sewed for the people in the neighborhood, and she started getting real busy, and she taught me how to keep a ledger on appointments, but not only that, on who owes the money, because at that time, if it was $6, you might pay it $2 a week for 3 weeks. But we grew up with, my dad was an assembly line worker at Ford, and my grandfather was an assembly worker at Ford Motor Company too. My dad and my grandpa had the pleasure of working 4 machines away from each other. So I'd imagine they had a lot of time to talk, but they taught me the values to what I needed to do. My grandfather, number one, taught me probably the biggest thing in my life, and that is do what your boss don't like, and you'll get his job every time. And just kept running and got into business and got into it. I started it with one person and then grew it to whatever we are today, 600, 700, 800 people in sales. I think well over 300 million. But the best thing out of what I did and what went on is my grandma, my dad, my grandpa were community builders, is that our main focus is to look around our neighborhood. How can we change our neighborhood? And it'll always keep our company changing. You have to do good work, but one of the things that they are recognizing, and not at a low level, but all the way at the top, is they're seeing what a company like Ideal can do in the community. Because we just not even, we got a clubhouse with DHDC, we got Clark Park. When I come here, it was a mess. We got kids that are getting educated. We have schools that we're supporting that are becoming a couple of the top schools in the state. We got parks. We got gardens. One of the nuttiest things in the whole wide world we did on one of our pieces of property, we went out there and decided that we were going to make a garden. People around here thought we were nuts. What are these people doing? And then we grew the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the hot peppers and everything else, and we put them on this cart, this box outside the fence, and people could come by and grab them and eat them. Well, the next year, it was all of a sudden even crazier. And even got crazier because now the people in the community come in there.
The garden really helps you grow as a person, and like Ideal Group and SDV likes to say, the garden really grows leaders, and the garden really does exemplify that, where high schoolers and younger students from grade schools come in and grow with the garden and truly show and exemplify leadership.
It's just a great example of what you can do. It was just a little thing, an easy idea, and that's what we did. It's easy.
Thank you for watching us. See you next time.